Yes. So, good evening to all of you. On this occasion of World Consumer Rights Day 2025, we all are here to listen to
मग
the
म्यूट कस करायचं?
uh, just a minute. Let me.
नाही, म्यूट कर. हा तर म्हटलं ओके असंच नाही. येस. हा
Yes, I'm muting you, sir. So I have muted you. So, with the World Consumer Rights Day 2025, we all have gathered together to celebrate and to listen to four of the stalwarts who have worked in the consumer protection system. And hence, we all are eager to listen from them, their own experiences, and based on the theme which is there for today's World Consumer Rights Day, that is a just transition to sustainable lifestyle. So this is the theme which have been accepted world over, and we'll be listening to some of the important aspects of this theme from two of our eminent speakers, Justice Bakre sir and Professor Dr. Mishra sir. So let me welcome all of you. Let me welcome all the basically dignitaries who are speakers who will be speaking on this occasion. So initially, I welcome the chief guest, who is the senior most, our father figure, Justice A.P. Bhangale sir. I welcome you, Bhangale sir.
Thank you.
Uh, then I welcome Justice U.B. Bakre sir, who is the former president of the State Consumer Commission Goa. I welcome you, Bakre sir. Then the third speaker is uh, Mr. Honorable Mr. Dhananjay, who was the member of the State Consumer Commission Goa. So three of the main important eminent personalities who will be talking to us, they are with us now. And the fourth one, that is Professor Dr. Mishra. So he will be joining at 6 o'clock. So I welcome all the participants are who are the uh, former presidents and the members of the state of the various consumer commissions of the state of Maharashtra, and some of the advocates, they have joined this particular program. So I welcome all of you, and then let us begin with the program as such. Now, while sitting on this side, that is on the bench, everybody of us has contributed to the betterment of the consumers, and I'm sure everybody has a lot of things to tell, that how they have actually conducted their proceedings in the commissions and the courts, and how the consumers were benefited. So all the experiences, so as to gather all the experience, we in the state of Maharashtra, former residents and the members of the consumer commissions, few of them, we have come together to form Lex Global Advocacy, and this is a legal platform which is for helping the consumers, in short, litigants in all walks of actually disciplines. That means not only the consumer. So in a short period, I'm going to show you one presentation. I'm sharing the presentation right now, so that we all will be able to know the importance and the. Yeah, I'm sharing the presentation right now. Uh, uh, just a minute.
जाताना बकरींची लोखंडी जरा
Yes. So now I think the presentation is visible to all of you right now. Just give me a minute. A technical. Yes. Yes. I hope it is seen by all of us.
Yes.
Mm, The only
Oh,
issue
this
is
day.
the only issue is not able to move the screen. Yes. So I hope it is seen. Uh, Simple window. It is taking time. Okay. I think it's better rather than going into the sharing of this thing. I'll just, in brief, I will give this concept and idea of Lex Global Advocacy. The Lex Global Advocacy is a legal platform which we have developed. The former members and the presidents of the consumer commissions of state of Maharashtra. Our main aim is to help the consumers, litigants on one side and the academics on the other side. So it has a two-pronged strategy, or it has two verticals on which we are working. The one important is that we are working on providing support to the litigants as well as the consumers uh, in all the courts as well. Now, apart from consultants, those who are the former members and the presidents of the consumer commissions. Apart from them, all over Maharashtra, we are actually requesting the even former district judges also to join this as a consultant. And with the help of advocate associates, we are going to provide the advocacy to the consultant, to the uh, uh, advocates and the common people as such. So, with this small introduction, I think we will now go ahead. At the end, I will try to once again show the presentation if time permits. With this, we now start our main program as such. And in this program, we are fortunate enough to have the eminent speakers. Now, with the chief guest, I welcome the chief guest of Justice A.P. Bhangale, sir. He is the first speaker, and we the members and the presidents of the commissions state of Maharashtra know him very well because he is a father figure. He during his tenure he has supported almost every president and member, and thus we all have worked under his guidance. Now we know that he was a judge in a Bombay High Court. A small introduction. He born on 19th of September 1953 at Jalgaon. Graduation in Arts and Law from Jalgaon and then Pune University. Uh, then he did masters in law, and then after masters, he joined the chambers of his own father, who was renowned advocate that time. So late advocate Shri P.B. Bhangale. So he was the renowned advocate who practiced both civil as well as criminal in both the sides. Now he joined the judiciary on 19th September 1989 as a judge, and from Bombay City Civil Sessions Court at Mumbai, and then serving as a special judge under the Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act 1999, and as a special judge under the Prevention of the Terrorism Act 2002. So we have heard from him a number of incidences, which and his experience while he served as this a special judge. Then he was a chairman of a motor accident claim tribunal and state transport appellate tribunal at Mumbai from May 2006 till September 2006, and then later on he was elevated to uh, the as a principal judge at a Bombay City Civil and Sessions Court in May 2007, and then he was elevated to Bombay High Court as a judge of Bombay High Court uh, uh, on 16th of April 2008 till 19th of September 2015, and after which Sir joined the State Consumer Commission as its president, and we all members and the presidents of various commissions, we had an opportunity to work under his guidance. So with this introduction, let me request the today's chief guest, Justice A.P. Bhangale sir, to uh, throw a light on the implementation of the uh, Consumer Protection Act 2019. So, in short, the comparison between the old law and the new law. That is, so that's what I request sir to uh, address the meeting. Bangale sir, please.
Yes. Good evening to Dr. Santosh Kakade and all past and present presidents, members of the consumer commissions in the state of Maharashtra and elsewhere in India. Today we are here to celebrate World Consumer Day, and on that count, we will also go through the changes that were brought about in India by 2019 Act of Consumer Protection Act and earlier act. If we consider the consumer rights as they were propounded earlier and pronounced by Sir John F. Kennedy, President of the United States of America, initially those were 6 rights, and then right to health and right to reside in healthy environment are also added to those rights. So the rights now are counted as 8 rights. So basically, these rights are available to every Indian citizen residing in India, because these rights are rights included in the Constitution of India as well. All fundamental rights are presumed, and then we consider what are the consumer's rights. While considering those rights, there is a corresponding liability upon each of the consumer to keep awareness of all those rights so that while remaining awakened about his rights, he can pray for justice and he can complain about the violation of rights and get remedy for whatever is grievance which is put forward in the form of complaint made to Consumer Commission. So basically speaking, if we go through these rights, what are those rights? Then we will see that right to safety of the goods or services is the first right. Every citizen is entitled to goods which are safe, services which are safe, so that utility shall be rightly protected, rightly available in respect of marketing of the goods or marketing of services, and all those products shall not be hazardous to safety, hazardous to life and property of every citizen. And as a consumer, when you go to market and select any product, then you have a right to take the information about the product. How is the quality of the product, when it was manufactured, what information is available about the quality of the goods, their quantity, potency, whether goods are pure for consumption, what is the standard of the good, whether price mentioned on the pamphlet of the good in respect of the goods is appropriate, reasonable price for the goods, so that object is to protect the consumer in the respect of any violation which may happen in the transaction. The basic right is right to choose the goods. Suppose if you go to visit mall, several products are available of different companies, and you can choose the best standard available in the market, so that you should not be cheated or deceived in respect of the product. That is called right to choose the good. Whenever possible, you must have access to variety of goods. It cannot be that the shopkeeper choose the particular product and hand it over to you and ask you to pay the price. That is not expected. What is contemplated is that in respect of the product, all varieties are available to you. You can examine them, you can choose them, and then even if after the purchase you find some defect or default in the goods, you can certainly complain about the violation of the right by means of complaint to Consumer Commission. We are not going into monetary limits. The monetary limits are changing every 2-3 years. So basically, when you choose the good and it is, say, within the limits of 1 crore, you may go to district commission. After that, you may go to state commission, and then original jurisdiction may also be with national commission in respect of the price of the goods or valuation of the complaint. Then we see that right to file complaint in respect of any violation of your consumer right is available to every citizen. Whenever there is violation of right, you have right to file complaint and to take resort to appropriate commission. We have 3-tier system: district commission, state commission, and national commission. Possibly the best available remedy should be available to the consumer in the lowest forum. Suppose my right is violated and I need to go to Delhi that I cannot afford. Basically, maximum jurisdiction should be available with the district commission so that there should not be any injustice or inconvenience for the consumer to approach the appropriate commission. Then it is a legal right to seek redressal of the grievances in respect of any unfair trade practice or restrictive trade practice. Then another important right is consumer has right to educate himself. About what? About the purpose of the protection. Protection is given, no doubt, but you have to educate yourself about the purpose of the protection. Then right to satisfy your basic needs. What we consider as basic needs is our food, clothing and shelter, what we call Anna Vastra Nivara. So in respect of those basic needs, whenever you enter into any transaction and you feel that your right is violated, then you can surely approach the consumer commission. Even for example, a right to consume pure drinking water. If you take a bottle of packaged drinking water and you find something obnoxious in it, you can certainly have a right to satisfy your right, you raise a complaint regarding violation of the basic need, that is right to pure drinking water. And right to health is a paramount right. Every citizen has to be healthy and his health is of paramount consideration. So whenever any product is purchased, it shall not affect your health. It shall not affect the environment in which you reside. So these are, which are considered as 7th and 8th right in respect of modern consumer law, are very important, and they are also included in the consumer's right. Basically, definition itself is inclusive definition. So it is not specific as to what rights are included. You give 6 rights, 8 rights, and you say that these are inclusive, these are included in the consumer rights. So it's a wide concept, and therefore we have to think in that way. Basically, all those rights have corresponding remedies, and you can, with any grievance about the violation of right, approach the consumer forum according to the monetary limits of each consumer commission. I am talking about some comparison in respect of old law and new law. In new law, what you find, the legislature has created an authority, Central Consumer Protection Authority, and control of that authority is given to the retired IAS officer or retired secretary, like that. But our experience about the modern law till today, we do not find that much has been done by the Central Consumer Protection Authority, despite the fact that it is introduced under the 2019 Act. Then there is a question of mediation. It is suggested that whenever the matter is taken before Consumer Commission, they have to refer it to mediator. This is also very surprising for me. When I was working under the old Act, I never found any such difficulty, because today also we do not have sufficient number of mediators, nor sufficient infrastructure is there to accommodate mediator in the system. Mediators may be appointed, but there is still confusion about who will pay mediators, how much is to be paid. Some rules are being introduced, but I think that this question of mediation, if you consider in the light of objective of the Consumer Protection Act, then in my humble opinion, this is not necessary. Because what was anticipated in the old act, which was only 30 sections, now there are 107 sections. So it is all the more and more provisions are created to accommodate product liability for defective product. Then you say mediation, then Central Consumer Protection Authority, and their action taken against defective product. So all these things I think could have been dispensed with by giving rights to available commissions. Now district commission is there. In the old act, you see there was section 25, which was treating the remedy under civil law, alike civil law. And then there was section 27, which was taking care of remedy in the nature of criminal law. So a person can be sent behind the bar. And we had done so effectively even under section 27. Now instead of 27, now it is 72. And instead of 25, it is now 71. So what more has been done? So in my humble opinion, what was in the old act was sufficient enough to take care by way of amendments, some amendments regarding mediation, if it is necessary, regarding the defective product, if it is to be recalled from the market. Those rights could have been given judicially in favor of the commissions so that certain steps can be taken. I remember one instance when complaint was made about the nano car manufactured by Tata. One engineer came before me and he was complaining that all nano cars will have to be withdrawn from the market. And that complaint, considering the widespread ramifications of the complaint, I had referred it to National Commission because it was a complaint regarding all nano cars which were manufactured by Tata, and the experiences were different. Some of the persons who came before us were telling that it is very good car, economical, cheap, and a car meant for common man. That engineer was saying that no, this is defective machine and it should not be allowed in the Indian market. This Tata is cheating people. So that particular complaint, I remember I had sent it to National Commission. So this is a rare occasion when such type of complaint is taken before Consumer Forum, and Consumer Forum in its wisdom refer it to National Commission so that entire facts ought to be on record to take a serious decision as to whether Tata should be prevented from marketing that car. So this is one example, but it is a rare example. And normally, when we have restricted consumer, that if it is a commercial purpose, then he need not come here. So, in considering those restrictions on the consumer's rights and rights which are created under law, which are discussed, are limited 6 or 8 rights, and they are also with reference to fundamental rights declared under the Constitution of India. So when we consider this, in my humble opinion, our old act of 30 sections was a better enactment, and now only by new act some confusion is created in the mind of the consumers about their remedy, which they can also make it available when the complaint is in the nature of a product which is sold everywhere in India. So just now I had given you example of nano car. So like that, the Central Consumer Protection Authority is created to deal with those type of complaints when goods are manufactured and they are required to be recalled or their production is required to be cancelled, and says Central Consumer Protection Authorities considered as appropriate authority to deal with such complaints. But how many complaints are there in the Central Consumer Protection Authority? And what was their performance so far from 2019 to 2025? So in fact, it is wastage of time and money of the government, and all those things which Central Consumer Protection Authority is doing could have been done by appropriate commission, whether it is district commission or state commission or national commission, as the case may be. So the new act, which is of 1107 sections are there, and this mediation provision, then this product liability provision, these new provisions which are introduced actually could have been introduced in the old act itself by certain amendments. That is my opinion. I'm not criticizing the legislature for bringing new act. Some good qualities are also there. Some we can praise new provisions because the more remedies are made available in respect of various circumstances. So that is better, welcome changes. But those changes ought to be supported by necessary infrastructure everywhere in the consumer commissions. For example, when you talk about mediation, mediation is a last resort. In my opinion, when basic objective of the act is speedy and cheaper remedy, why mediation? When you can dispose of the case, you are expected to dispose of the case within say 30 days or 60 days. Why you need mediation? You can do it within 30 days. If complaint is filed, ask for reply and dispose it of as early as possible, as contemplated under the law. Why you need mediation? Why you need to introduce, why you introduce complexities in the form of CCPA or other authorities, which are actually unnecessary and expensive for government and goes against basic objectives of the Consumer Protection Act. In my opinion, the Consumer Protection Act came in 1986 when civil matters, civil litigation was uncontrollable. They had objective that once you introduce consumer forums, these complaints in respect of consumer products filed by consumers can be disposed of as early as possible, and people can get speedy justice, inexpensive justice within the realm of the consumer law. But today we are introducing more complexities and creating more problems for consumers. In National Commission, I am told that when you file complaint, you get a date of adjournment for beyond 6 months because they have no time, limited number of judges, and population is expanding beyond. We do not have proportionate judges in the corresponding to the population. So these problems are bound to be there, but government has to introduce online hearings, when a consumer can sit in his home, he can argue and he can get justice. Because as you know, even engaging advocate is optional for consumer. It is not compulsory for consumer to engage an advocate and go go file complaint through the advocate only. You can do it yourself. So that should be so simple that every consumer should feel comfortable to file complaint, to follow it to its logical conclusion and get early justice as contemplated under the law in view of the basic objectives of the law. I think I have spoken too much about the modern law, but as I explained, modern law, if it is beneficial, it is welcome. But corresponding to those new provisions, the government must also take care to introduce sufficient number of mediators, sufficient number of authorities, including now Central Consumer Protection Authority is also entitled to have assistance of police. If it is so effective, then why Consumer Commission cannot have assistance of police in their day-to-day proceedings? Let them enjoy that assistance. Let the police come to consumer commissions to help consumer commissions to dispose of the complaints as early as possible. And consumer should be really a king in the real sense. He should get justice, maximum justice. I am really congratulating Dr. Santosh Kakade for introducing this global advocacy concept so that they can certainly assist the consumers to get justice earlier and as expected by law at as early as possible and inexpensive justice. In my opinion, this advocacy, global advocacy, can do lot more in the light of the consumer, not only consumer law, but other laws also, civil law, criminal law. So whoever may be litigant, if he is a needy litigant, he should approach the advocacy center to see what he can do to seek justice, how he can file complaint, how he can file suit or criminal proceedings against the violators of law, so that if this is done, the global advocacy will uh, do the maximum work to protect the rights of the litigants and do the important work for administration of justice. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Justice Bhangale sir, for your insights on the consumer protection in the state of Maharashtra, not only in the state of Maharashtra, but all over SI. And we all are thankful to you for your constant guidance and support, and even help in developing this concept of Lex Global Advocacy. So once again, I am thankful to you. Just before proceeding ahead, I would like to inform all of you that Justice Bhangale sir has written a very nice book on the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Many of you might be having. I'm just going to show the book as such. So I think everybody is now able to see this. So this is the book which sir has written, and I'm sure everybody must have a copy of this particular book, because in Marathi as well as in English, in a very beautiful language, practical aspects of this Consumer Protection Act have been written by sir. So with this, once again, I thank Justice Bhangale sir, and now let us move on to the our guest of honor, Shri U.V. Bakre sir. Sir, I welcome you to this particular program. I'm very much thankful to you for accepting the invitation, and as per the acceptance, you have joined this particular seminar. So just to introduce all of us, Justice U.V. Bakre, that is Utkarsha Vishwanath Bakre sir, he was a judge in a Bombay High Court, and then he became the president of the State Consumer Commission of Goa. Now, he basically originally belongs to Goa. Since his surname is Bakre, he is very much Marathi and speaks Marathi very well. Sir, at present, resides in Goa. His educational qualifications are BSc Honors and LLB. He practiced as an advocate in various courts in Goa, basically, from 1978 to 1983. Worked as assistant public prosecutor in various courts in Goa and in Daman and Diu from 1983 to 1988. Then he entered the judiciary and uh, he worked as a civil judge, senior division, and judicial magistrate first class in various courts in Goa from 1995 to 1998. Then he was an additional district judge. So, sir was an additional district judge uh, and additional session judge in North Goa and South Goa from 1998 to 2005. Then he was a law secretary to the government of Goa from 2005 to 2007. Then he was a principal district judge and sessions judge in North Goa and South Goa from 2007 to 2011. Elevated as a judge of the High Court of Bombay and Goa in 2011. Worked as such in Nagpur, Bombay, and Goa till February 2015. And then he was the president of Goa State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission from 2015 to 2020. Now, he also worked as a chairperson of Goa Human Rights Commission from 2020 to 2023. Now, presently, Sir is honorary chairperson of Legal Cell, Goa Biodiversity Board, sole arbitrator and chairperson of a committee appointed by a Goa government to examine authenticity of records of archives. So this is a very exhaustive biodata and judicial Sir's judicial experience. We all have now come to know. I am thanking Justice U.B. Bakre sir for being with us on this World Consumer Rights Day. I request sir to guide all of us. Sir will be talking about the theme of this World Consumer Rights Day. There is a just transition to sustainable lifestyles. So with this, I request sir to start his session. Sir, please. Bakre sir. Sir, you have to unmute yourself. Bakre sir, you have to unmute yourself. I also welcome the fourth dignitary, Professor Dr. Suresh Mishra sir. He has joined. I welcome you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much, sir. I'm here.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Yes.
Thanks so much, sir.
So Honorable Chief Justice of today's online workshop, Justice A.P. Bhangale, Honorable Dr. Santosh Kakde of Lex Global Advocacy, other dignitaries present today for the webinar. I hope you all were not bored with the lengthy introduction of mine given by Dr. Santosh Kakde. Anyhow, good evening, everyone. It is absolute honor and privilege to be a part of this webinar today on the World Consumer Rights Day. I would start with a quote. David Attenborough, a biologist and a passionate nature lover, has said, I quote, "Every breath of air we take every mouthful of food that we take comes from the natural world. And if we damage the natural world, we damage ourselves. Unquote. In short, harming nature ultimately harms us. In fact, it is our activities which are harming the nature. Mother Earth is today facing real crisis due to climate change, deforestation, habitat loss, diversity decline, pollution, non-disposal or improper disposal of garbage, both hazardous and non-hazardous. Yes, hello. We
Sir, please.
cannot bear the heat nowadays. Global heat is not increasing naturally. It is increasing due to human activities like burning of fossil fuels, which release carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. Massively cutting trees and mountains, that is deforestation, creating RCC jungle everywhere, etc. Carbon dioxide is released during production of cement, mainly during the production of cement, and during various other industrial activities. Methane is emitted from sources like agriculture, landfills, and natural gas production. Nitrous oxide is emitted from agricultural activities, industrial processes, and burning of fossil fuels. Plastic bags with remaining food articles thrown out of the car or by pedestrians by the side of the road or in public places are eaten by animals, stray animals. Plastic thrown in rivers and seas is ingested by marine animals. It becomes microplastic after several years, which go into the bodies of marine animals. This causes blockades and resultant death. Eating of such marine food is dangerous for human beings also. Deforestation leads to habitat loss, biodiversity decline, soil erosion, climate change, etc. Non-disposal or improper disposal of garbage uh, leads to pollution of air, water, and soil, and to increased risk of serious diseases. So, living just a sustainable lifestyle is one of the ways to tackle the above problems. We must think not only about ourselves but about future generations. Populations are continuing to grow, but our Mother Earth is running out of resources. Therefore, we need to change our consumption habits. We must avoid wastage of food. We must avoid overconsumption. We must think before we buy. Stop using plastic bags for carrying our things. Instead, let us use canvas bags, paper bags, cloth bags, or bags of any other biodegradable material. Let us not waste water. Use only that much of water and energy which is needed. Let us make habit to close water taps, public or otherwise, which are left open by people. Let us inform the concerned department if any water pipeline is broken anywhere. In this manner, let us conserve water and energy. We must, in fact, go for solar energy. Government is giving subsidy for the same now. Let us plant more and more trees. We must choose lifestyles which will minimize environmental degradation. Everybody, including government, should see to it that sustainable and healthy choices for consumers are made more available, accessible, and affordable. Consumers should choose products and services that are environment friendly. The Consumer Protection Act has a vital connection to promoting sustainable lifestyles. Consumer has a right to consumer awareness. This act aims to ensure that consumers have access to accurate information about products and services. It helps prevent greenwashing, that is, that is where companies make misleading claims about their environmental benefits. and about their products and services. Consumer protection agencies can engage in consumer education and providing guidelines to businesses. So in this manner, we can help to sustain our Mother Earth. Now, as far as my experiences goes, I will tell you a few things. I was the president of Goa State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission from March 2016 to February 2020. Mr. Dhananjay Jog was one of the members. But at that time, the old Consumer Protection Act 1986 was in force. Under the old act, the final order of the forum or commission was not treated as decree of the civil code, and provisions of order 21 of first schedule to the code of civil procedure were not applicable. But now section 71 of the new act allows every order of the district, state or national commission to be executed as if it were a decree of civil code in a suit. Provisions of order 21 of first schedule to the code of civil procedure are now made applicable. Going further, section 72 subsection 1 of the new act makes non-compliance with an order punishable and provides for strict penalty of imprisonment or fine or both. Section 72 subsection 2 empowers the commission to try the said offense as judicial magistrate first class. I remember we, that is myself, Mr. Dhananjay Jog and the other member had decided about 40 complaints filed by purchasers of flats against the builder for possession and execution of sale deeds. The matters were decided ex parte because the builder was not traceable. The matters were decided in favor of the purchasers and they had filed execution applications for enforcement of orders. But the builder was not appearing, nothing could be done. Even now, nothing can be done in those cases since the new act is not applicable to the cases under the old act. Then under the old act, we did not have powers of review of orders. Hence, parties had to file appeals before the National Commission. But now, Section 40 gives review powers to district commissions and Section 50 gives review powers to the state commission. Now the Consumer Protection Act 2019 appears to be very, very strong on paper. Maybe as far as provisions of mediation and several other provisions, certain more development is had to be made. Some rules will have to be made. And some infrastructure or certain things which Justice A.P. Bhangale explained will have to be provided. In any way, what I want to say is that this new act is not fully used due to factors like non-awareness, no access, and procedural complexities. Now, this World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated for raising awareness about consumer rights and promoting their protection. It is celebrated on the 15th of March annually to serve as an essential reminder of the need to uphold consumer rights and protections. This is a global event. Let us hope for a better world. I am sure Dr. Suresh Mishra will enlighten us more on the theme of the World Consumer Rights Day. I had told Dr. Santosh Kakade that I am not used to give lengthy speeches. I always speak for a short time. So I would now like to close my speech. I thank Dr. Santosh Kakade of Lex Global Advocacy for inviting me as a guest for this online workshop and giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. I congratulate Dr. Santosh Kakade for establishing the Lex Global Advocacy for the support of consumers and also the advocates who would be appearing for those consumers. Thanks to all who are present for this webinar also. I know Justice Bhangale feels that old act was better than the new act, but I feel that time will come. Time will tell us which is the good act. Anyhow, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. So I thank Justice Bakre sir for his enlightening speech on the basic theme, today's theme, and also he has shared with us his experience. So I'm thankful to you, sir, for uh, your speech, and we are honored to have you in this particular program. Now, moving over, uh, we have a next eminent personality, the former member of the Goa State Consumer Commission, Shri Dhananjay. To introduce him in short, he is an electronics engineer, MBA, and student of law. He has extensive corporate experience in marketing, commercial, and administrative positions in India as well as abroad. He was involved in senior management and customer services in reputed companies. He has traveled extensively and lived in over 25 countries in the Middle East and Gulf, Europe, and Far East, including Japan. He obtained yeah, so uh, he obtained his early education at Panaji, Goa, and studied electronics engineering and management at Mumbai and Pune. Before his return back to home to his Goa in 2002, he was manager with Philips International Holland, and earlier in Doha, Qatar, he was founder, member, and president of the Toastmasters International, the organization that develops public speaking skills. He was also founder member of Toastmasters in Goa. His articles on topical issues have been published in print media, including Time Magazine, the Times and International Herald Tribune, both in London, then Khalij Times in Dubai, Gulf Times in Qatar, and many Indian newspapers. He joined as a member of District Consumer Forum, Margova, in 2004, in May 2023. He in May 2023, he retired as a president, obviously in charge president of Goa State Consumer Commission. Uh, some of his well-reasoned judgments have been upheld at the highest court, that is Supreme Court of India. And after his retirement, he writes regularly various articles in various Goan newspapers. He is a consultant in consumer matters. He has recently published a book, or rather, it was published on behalf of the government. And this book, very nicely written, the Grahak Hakka Jagruti, of course, it is in the Marathi language. It's a very nice one. I'm just going to show you the book's front cover to all of you. It's a very good book. I have gone through this and
Not visible.
seen, or is it seen?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll share the screenshot of that. So with this introduction, let me request honorable member, honorable former member of Goa Consumer Dispute State Consumer Dispute Resolution Commission, Shri Dhananjay Jog sir, to address this meeting. Jog sir, please. Jog sir, you have to unmute yourself first.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Bakre. And my regards and thanks also to Justice Bhangale and Justice Bakre, the latter of whom I have worked under and learned a lot. Uh, my talk today is not going to be more about justice, because I was always been appointed as a technical member. Non-judicial member is what the advertisement says when these posts are advertised. It's a good thing that everybody on a consumer commission bench is not a lawyer, because you get a different perspective. Appointing a medical doctor, appointing an engineer like me gives more understanding to the commission as a whole. For example, my presence could help the commission, my president, the other member, all three of us together. It could help in understanding, for example, if a motorcycle is defective or not. If a flat indeed has flaws in its construction or not, because there are always contra claims. A buyer feels this way and the seller says, no, this is perfect. My car is running perfect. The car manufactured or the car sold by me is running perfect. But the buyer feels, no, it stops. Every alternate day it stops. I cannot bring you at the moment it stops, because it stops once in 2 days. So this is something a technical person can resolve. And this adds to the strength of the Consumer Commission. I learned these things surprisingly from judicial members or judicial presidents, including Justice Bakre, who spoke before me, including Justices Z.D. Kapoor, Justice Daga, etc., under whom I was fortunate to obtain training experience at Delhi. There is an institute called IIPA, which occasionally calls members or presidents from various districts or states and trains them. I was fortunate to attend 2 such trainings. Justice Kapoor, for example, used to tell us that be compassionate. Think as if you are the consumer. Think from his point of view. Think as a layman. Don't think purely as a lawyer. Think from the consumer's point of view. This is the exact advice I also got when I first joined in 2004. We had Justice Y.V. Rao, who was the president of Goa State Commission, retired High Court Justice from Bangalore. Sadly, he is no more. He passed away. The first, he used to hold regular meetings of all members in Goa, members and presidents of districts in Goa. In the first meeting after I joined, I asked him, sir, I am not from this line at all. I joined because the director of this Consumer Supplies Department, Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Department, Ashutosh Apte, met me on the street, also a Marathi man, but Goan like me, met me on the street and said, Dhananjay, what are you doing? Come and join the Consumer Commission. I said, I have nothing, no knowledge about that. I'm an engineer, sales engineer. He said, no, we need persons like you. Fortunately, I applied. Out of 47 people, I got selected. I asked Justice Bakre, Justice Rao for advice in the first meeting. I said, I have no background at all of this, but I don't want to sit and warm a chair. I want to contribute. I want to be able to do something if I'm holding a position. He said, Job, don't worry. Your intentions seem nice. Imagine that God is busy. He is handling the entire universe. A very, very small portion of his job of doing justice in a very, very small corner of the world in South Goa district. He has given to you just to check your intention and your capacity. Just remember that. Remember in every judgment that you write that you are writing on behalf of God. If you remember that, you will not fail. And fortunately, I didn't fail. I think I did not write many wrong judgments. And now I tried to see that no injustice ever happens in my hand. And this was later supported, as I said, by Justice Z.D. Kapoor when I trained under him. He says, be compassionate. stand in the shoes of the complainant. A retired Supreme Court judge tells us this. See it from a layman's point of view. Evolve your own procedure and keep it simple. Evolve your own procedure to understand, to write a judgment. You don't have to copy anybody. Evolve your own procedure the way you understand the matter and keep it simple. Should be easier for the reader to understand your judgment. He further said, if multiple interpretations are possible, then always insist on the interpretation which is in favor of the consumer. Accept that interpretation. All these may not be strictly in the provisions of law, but this is what senior judges have shared with me. Another gem, even if a complaint is barred by limitation, of course there is a limitation period in a consumer complaint, try to find a way to admit it and then let it be decided on its merits. If it is not worth, the complaint is not worth any action, let it get dismissed, but let it get dismissed on merits, not because of limitation. Try to find a way. If he can give some justification for being late in filing a complaint, try to find a way and accommodate it. Admit the complaint. Another very valuable insight that he shared with me is the Consumer Commission is not a place where two equals are fighting. If an ancient biblical story is to be remembered, David versus Goliath. David was a small boy who only had a string with a आपण याच्यात म्हणतो galol. It's a triangular shape and you pull a rubber and you can fire a missile out of it. You can fire a stone or some. Galol म्हणतो आपण मराठी. So David was a small boy with a galol. Goliath was a giant. So a consumer commission is a fight between David and Goliath. Naturally, you know whom to sympathize with. Try and accommodate him. That was his advice. So this was the sort of training that I got. Fortunately, the first assignment in South Goa District Commission, those days, because Goa is a small state, in fact, our entire state is equal to one district of Maharashtra. And just because the statehood was given, we drew a line in the middle of our map and made two districts called North Goa and South Goa. There are no proper names also for the district. They're simply called North Goa and South Goa district, simply by drawing a line in the middle of the map. Just because there is a state, you can't have a state with one district. So when I joined South Goa, the activity was the consumer activism or the consumer awareness was not that much. Plus Goa, as I said, is a small state. So district commissions at those times, until very recently, till a few years back, worked only half time. South Goa Commission worked from 2:30 in the afternoon till the day, the business of the day got over, say about 4:30 or 5. I had free time in the morning, and that is where I could attend. Since I said I have come into this position, I could attend law classes for about 3 or 4 terms. I did not complete an LLB, but I could attend classes and get that basic insight, which helped me a lot. Just as Bakre shared a particular case of 40 builders. Sir, I am happy to inform you that after your retirement, using the provisions under the new act, we could obtain partial justice to the 40 builders in the case of Bhaskar Begari versus 40 people. The commission, the state commission appointed its registrar who would sign a sale deed in lieu of the absconding builder. Once we declared him absconding, and arrest warrants were sent not only in Goa but to his heard addresses, rumored addresses in Bangalore and Hyderabad. He could not be traced anywhere. So we issued a standing warrant at the end, and then we authorized our own registrar to sign sale deeds of the flats to these 40 individuals, and they did so. So that is where a conclusion could be obtained. Another interesting case that I would like to share is where technicalities showed that justice could not be given. But we found a way to do it. I'll tell you exactly, very briefly. There was a priest, a Catholic priest. There are 40% of Goans are Catholics. So they have priests. A Catholic priest does not marry. A Protestant priest marries. The point is, he owned 2 flats. Now, a priest also, frankly, does not own much, but he owned 2 flats because he inherited some family land. He handed over that land to a builder, and in exchange, he got 2 flats and some additional money. That is how he became the owner of 2 flats. Since he has not married, he did not wish to, of course, marry. He gifted them during his lifetime to his nephew. The nephew was a young man, an intelligent engineer, and he said, "Let me have a look at the flats." And he found something amiss. The flats promised the priests were 240 square meters, two flats, 120 square meters each. The nephew, with some experience in flats, in land, and buildings, he said, "I feel this is a bit less." So he called an engineer and made him officially measure it. He found 19 square meters less. Now you can't carve out 19 square meters in a ready building. So he asked the builder trying to say no. This case hence appeared at the district commission in South Goa. The conclusion was that since the priest has already gifted the flat to the nephew, he is no more a consumer. On the other hand, the nephew has no contractual dealing with the builder. He is a receiver of a gift deed. So neither is the nephew a consumer. So both of them not being consumers, the district chose to dismiss the complaint. It came in appeal. The priest and the nephew came in appeal. During the appeal hearings, unfortunately, the priest died away. My colleagues, Justice Bakre had retired by then. I had just one colleague left. She felt otherwise. She felt district is right in dismissal. But I felt something is basically wrong here. Later on, even the builder agreed that there was just a question of quantity. These people felt 19 square meters less, and the builder said, no, it is 15 square meters less. He was also not objecting. There was just a question of 4 square meters. So even the builder accepted that I have given 15 square meters less. It should have been simple. You say the value of 15 square meters that you notionally made, return that. But this justice was not being given. I made out a dissenting order. And later on, it got upheld by the National Commission that 15 square meters should be compensated by the builder at 35,000 rupees per square meter, which was the rate at that time. This is where I don't know if Justice Bakre or Justice Bhangale will agree with this interpretation of mine. But this saw justice being given. I would, in fact, even ask Justice Bakre to share this. Would you like to answer me, sir, or will you separately?
Interpretation that was accepted by National Commission.
Yes.
which is highest on the ladder.
Yes.
So you were right. Therefore, that was accepted.
Accepted. But if we had looked at it only in the legal point of view, when a consumer files a complaint about a car, and during the proceedings, if he gets unhappy, so unhappy with the car that he sells it off, then we say you are no more a consumer of this car's dealer because you have sold a car, and we dismiss the complaint. It's similar interpretation could have been done here in this case of flat.
By interpretation, which is a logical outcome
Yes.
of your settling a dispute permanently.
Right.
So if you don't accept that interpretation, he will be left nowhere.
Yes.
He will have to approach elsewhere.
Yes. Exactly. Right. With this, I don't think I would have any more to add. And if I think I've taken my allotted time also. I'm not sure if Suresh Mishra is the person who trains people at IIPA, Indian Institute of Public Administration. If so, then I have been fortunate to obtain his training in 2011.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to introduce him at length. He is the same person from Delhi.
Okay.
So we are eager to listen from him about today's theme.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm thankful to Shri Dhananjay sir for giving an insight of various actual cases which he has decided, and I'm sure everybody of us have received or must have remembered the cases which we dealt when we were the members and presidents in the consumer commissions. So I'm again thankful to you, Jok sir. Moving on to the next esteemed speaker, I welcome Professor Dr. Suresh Mishra sir. He's from Delhi, and just to read out his biodata for our information. Professor Dr. Suresh Mishra sir, he is currently Professor of Public Administration and Chair Professor of Consumer Affairs at the Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi. He is also the Project Director of National Consumer Helpline and the State Consumer Knowledge Resource Management Portal, which is set up by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India at IIPA. Professor Mishra holds his Masters in Political Science from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Masters in Human Resource Management from Pondicherry Central University, DPhil from Allahabad Central University, and Diploma in Journalism and Mass Communication from Kolkata. He had his advanced training in corporate governance at AOTS Tokyo, Japan, in total quality management. So this is advanced training in total quality management, TQM, at UK Civil Service College, Sunningdale, UK, and advanced training in public policy management at Development Study Center uh, uh, at Rehovot, Israel. He participated in the public administration program for senior officers at ENA Paris, France, and also attended advanced training of trainers program on training techniques and methodology at Thames Valley University, Slough, UK. He has handled projects funded by UNICEF, UNDP, UFID, and British Council, apart from a number of ministries and departments. He is a member of a number of evaluation and screening committees of various departments and ministries. He is a member of Central Consumer Protection Council, Government of India. He was the chairman of the committee set up by the UGC to prepare modules on consumer affairs to be implemented as an elective paper by all the universities. So, thorough academician, and since we all have heard his name, as well as we had an opportunity sometime to go to IIP Delhi and he was the one who actually trained many amongst us. So in the history and the overall the consumer affairs concept in India, he is the one who has shaped this particular concept. So we are very fortunate to have him in this particular webinar to guide us. So with this, let me request Honorable Shri Professor Dr. Suresh Mishra sir to uh, conduct his session, to guide us.
Uh,
Mishra sir.
Thank you, sir, for a very generous introduction. And let me thank you also for inviting me to speak where such prestigious people are there, men of great experience, especially relating to consumer protection. In their presence, it sometimes becomes difficult. Thankfully, I'm not talking about the law. So, Dhananjay sir, yes, you're true. I am same Mishra who IAPA started the training of members in 1992 and we continued till 2019 during COVID. Now there are certain issues where the government does not want to cover the expenses of training, all of them. So uh, there are issues which IAPA has not agreed to many, so training is a little out. But yes, IAP has a very symbiotic relationship with I would say, all the district commissions, state commissions, national commission. We have very fond memories of people. We get a lot of calls even today. Uh, we were keenly associated with drafting and formulating the 2019 Act. I know it became a big act, but then the issues and problems that were to be dealt with really need. The 1986 Act was fantastic act, but for a period when the world was not globalized and e-commerce, these issues had not come up. So with this new, 2002, 2 years back, we also, the Supreme Court asked us to submit a report on the status of the uh, functioning of the 2019 Act. We gave a lot of recommendations, and based on the recommendation, the pecuniary jurisdiction was reduced. If you remember, it was initially 10 lakh, 10 crore and above for the NCDRC. Now, when we did a quick study and we put it that if we keep the same pecuniary jurisdiction, the district commissions will be really loaded with n number of complaints. And we showed statistically as the complaints were being filed that within the next 5 years, the NCDRC will be unemployed. They will have no complaints coming there. It's very rarely they will have complaints because the second appeal was already put in that you cannot go for the second appeal. And now Supreme Court accepted this contention and they said, we recommended that it should be brought down. It's too high, especially for consumer complaints, and thankfully they brought. The other thing we insisted that the entrance examination, because large number of states, if you look at the northern belt, since we were directly training the members, we know the quality of people who were coming. And you'll be shocked to hear that in one state, the storekeeper was nominated by. And so we said that there's something drastically wrong. And then the third was enhancing their pay and privileges to give them a status that if you have been tracking, even some 2-3 weeks back also the Supreme Court has again come down heavily on the states for not giving the pay and privileges to and they've issued direction that it should be. Now the act is good, but the problem remains with the state governments and the central government. Unless the state governments are serious about consumer protection, They're all about food distribution, PDS. That is why we also told the Supreme Court, you should either bifurcate this department and make it a separate department, or at least set up a directorate of consumer. But, there are a lot of political issues are there. So that's about the act that is there. Now, we all talk about consumer rights, but when sustainable lifestyle, sustainable consumption, it is a part of consumers' responsibility more than rights. Now, the education, right to consumer education has been changed. That is the only right that has been changed to awareness now. But awareness is fine, but unless you are a responsible consumer, a lot of this awareness really does not go down much. So a just transition to sustainable lifestyle is what is the current theme of the World Consumer Rights Day 2025. And I think given the global scenario and the national scenario, the concern for the Mother Earth and also the environment, the various facets of environment, has become really serious. And we have to, in a city like Delhi, which is the capital city, sometimes the city is just choked. You can't even breathe and schools are shut down. It's not that there is no solution. The question is nobody wants to bell the cat. So in terms of transport, you see now the Supreme Court has also come down very heavily that all 15-year vehicles, they should be scrapped. 10 years for diesel, you don't have. Then in terms of your environment, transport, we have now all electric buses are coming. The old ones are being phased out. They have also said that a green cess is being taxed now when heavy vehicles enter Delhi. So many of these things are taking place to ensure that the environment becomes much better, but I think there's a long way to go. Now, if you see Mahatma Gandhi's statement, his quote, "Earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed." I think if you look at Mahatma Gandhi, he really lived a sustainable lifestyle, a very simple lifestyle. What he wore, the way he lived, it was very, very sustainable. He practiced a lot of these things, and he talked of village Swaraj and other things, which were all very sustainable models. So that's Gandhiji's really, this sets the ball. It's not that sustainable lifestyle we have been talking only of recent, but yes, much, much before that. Now, if we look at what are the sustainable development goals, the UN has come up with the sustainable development goals. The goals, sustainable development really meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And therefore, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by all member countries in the United Nations in 2015. And since then, all efforts have been made to reduce poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice by 2030. Now, it's a big task, but nonetheless, the Millennium Development Goals we had earlier, and then now the aim is to remove all these things by 2030. We are making quite a good progress in it, but I think focusing on these issues itself is something very much needed. So the 17 development goals, they are all integrated. Recognize that development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability and achieve them all by 2030. Now, goal 12 is very important. The UN earlier itself, it recognized sustainable consumption as one of the consumer rights. And therefore, you see that we had a lot of environmental issues which were coming up. And the goal 12, essentially, of Sustainable Development Goal ensures sustainable consumption and production patterns. It talks how the sustainable consumption and production pattern should be. So worldwide consumption and production rest on the use of the natural environment and resources in a way that continue to have destructive impact on the planet. So the current model of production is really harming the earth to a large extent. Now, if you look at the COVID-19 pandemic, which offered opportunities to countries and individuals to reverse current trends and change our consumption and production patterns to a more sustainable future. During the COVID, there was almost a threat to globalization. The large number of scholars have written that a time came when it was felt that every country was closing its border, every country was looking inward, and therefore the challenge to globalization was whether globalization will really uh, exist as a theory. And therefore, they said that the issues are much more, and every country will have to focus on what it is able to produce and sustain. So there was sustainable consumption and production is about more, doing more and better with less. Now the question is, how much less is more? That's for the individuals to decide. That every individual has to decide that what is, and that you link by economic growth from environmental degradation, increase resource efficiency, and promoting sustainable lifestyle. Now, there are some of the current consumption and production patterns need to change. Environmental degradation and climate change are critical issues. The emergence of COVID-19 has underscored the relationship between people and nature. There are many aspects of consumption that, with simple changes, can have a big impact on society as a whole. When you talk of sustainable lifestyle, people think it's a very complicated lifestyle that everybody is talking about. But very, very basic, simple things. Like after our training is over in the classroom, we say that the last person should switch off the lights. That should be as a habit for everybody. But it's very difficult habit to put it because we are not concerned. Oh, well, that's not my part. That's my duty, not my duty. But if there is no light, they'll break your head. Similarly, now we have started saying that, well, we'll switch off the ACs only in April. But what happens is everybody closes the window and makes it dark. Even in our own houses, somehow we all are against natural light coming. Everybody has put the black films are there, curtains are there. We don't, unlike you go to the West, they really enjoy the natural light coming. So about 1/3 of the food produced for human consumption each year is lost or wasted. One of the justices talked about food wastage. Around 7-8 years back, the ministry asked us to do a study when the Food Safety Act was coming. The question is, there are so many people who die hungry, but there's so many people who waste food. So they said, well, let's have a quick study in some selected states of how much food is wasted in social gatherings. That is in weddings, parties, seminars, conferences. It was extensive study that was done. And very interesting, it came up that almost up to 25% is wasted in a lot of these weddings that take place. And what is more interesting is that buffet system has introduced that you take as much as you want, you take what you want, and take what you like. Now, people fill their plates and then they decide what they should eat. And in the process, so much is wasted and thrown away. So, food wastage is there. Water pollution is also pressing issues as we are polluting water faster than nature can do. Earlier, if I think if Dhananjay sir remembers, we used to give water bottle in the during the courses. Now that has been stopped. Now we say that what we found is that many people would just take 2-3 sips and leave the bottle. Some of them would leave it half. We used to always appeal you, please take it to your room or you take it and drink water. But then we realized that people, since they don't buy the bottle, they think we'll have another bottle when we need it. So we have stopped now giving these plastic bottles. We have the water bottles, which they can, disposable cups. So many things based on experience. We also move towards sustainability of how do we avoid many of these things. Business can use their innovative power to design solutions that inspire individuals to lead more sustainable lifestyle, reducing impact and improving well-being. One good aspect of this act is the product liability part that is there. There are a lot of discussion that how do you make the business innovate, how do you make them invest in R&D, how do you make them invest in designing the products, because even if there is a fault in the design, like in the National Consumer Helpline, we would get a lot of complaints which talk of a lot of faults in the design because of design issues, the things are there. Now, they would not agree to that. So therefore, now what has happened is that earlier the consumer had to prove that there is a defect in the design or there is a defect in the product and that he has been hurt. But now under this clause, it is for the manufacturer to prove that there is no defect in his product or the damage is the injury has not been because of that. So we expect the business to innovate the product and come up with better solutions, better products into the market. Along with that, BIS is also putting in a lot of issues. You must have read very recently that last year that ISI, non-ISI marked pressure cookers, even Amazon was fined to a large extent. They said, though, we are a marketplace, but the contention was there that you have to ensure that. So therefore, sustainable lifestyle is what everybody is looking for, and it is the interest of everybody. And they are considered as ways of living, social behavior, and choices that minimize environmental degradation, at the same time supporting equitable socio-economic development and better quality of all. Sustainable living means understanding how our lifestyle choices impact the world around us and finding ways for everyone to live better and lighter. So that's what we call that social behavior and individual choices are there. There are many unsustainable ways that we are looking for. There are many aspects of consumption that with simple changes can have a big impact on society as a whole. If you look at the environmental degradation and climate change, critical issues there for us to, even in the terms of unsustainable energy and fuel, how long can we depend on the fossil fuel that is there? In Delhi, from 1st of April, now they have made a law, the new government has said that no diesel petrol will be given to vehicles that are 10 years and 15 years old. So they are going to shut down. These are harsh measures. These are measures that are unpopular measures politically. But if you want to really save the environment, these are steps that are to be taken. Even they say the Yamuna is very polluted. As if Yamuna, the water itself is polluted. We are polluting that. It's not that you get water from the source that is polluted. So therefore, they have put in a lot of restrictions now of late on the Yamuna and ensuring that the people really don't litter plastics and because they have started cleaning it. And you find only plastics coming out of from the Yamuna banks that is there. So hard measures are being taken. That is what the incentive for energy and fuel conservation. Government has already announced that they will not give petrol, diesel to vehicles. So I think that's a good step. Then climate change due to carbon emissions, that is also being addressed to a large extent. Unsustainable food, we have talked about it, how much food is wasted, contamination, adulteration, especially if you look at the food items in the open market, like masala and others. there's so much of adulteration is there. The tremendous amount of adulteration is there. The poor man does not buy the packed commodities, and even in the packed commodities, you will see that the sometimes we have also studied this, that sometimes the license is over, but still the production continues because nobody bothers, and there is a vested interest for everybody into it, and so therefore, and this problem of food, unsustainable food that is there, that should be looked about. Water, I have already talked about, that millions of people live without safe water or enough water. Water wasted from flushing down toilets and other non-critical areas. If you remember the old flush, there you had a big chain and you would put at least 20 liters of water used to be flushed every time. Now, you see the smaller, better quality ones have come, that hardly 4-5 liters is there, even that. And even in the trains and all, now you have biodegradable flushes are there, where not much water is wasted. So there are various ways of ensuring that the sustainable lifestyle is practiced. Then you see the rainwater harvesting, which is more or less mandatory. Every house that is new house is being built, every building that will have to have rain harvesting structures. But then most people try to run away from it as if it's not their problem. So these are some of the issues that we have to take into consideration. Then you look at the chemicals. Every food item, even the vegetables, they are being injected. The chemicals, pesticides, everything is there. Extensive use of pesticide is there. Even where you have these filthy ponds, which are contaminated, they grow, water those vegetables and all with that. And therefore, tons of electronic and other waste, even computers, you see how much of wastage is there. So farm chemicals like pesticides, weedicides, fertilizers. So people are now, there is more focus to shift towards organic. And everybody now is slowly thinking that either you shift towards organic or let's do away with vegetables and other which are having more pesticides. So therefore, unsustainable lifestyle is largely driven by convenience and personal preferences and financial capacity. It's convenient, so we don't follow it. You go to the market, without a bag, the plastic bag is there. They will give you. That's very convenient. But the harm that you are really doing to society is much more. It also is there lack of concern about impact on personal health and environment, indifference or lack of concern over effects of consumption on the poor and underprivileged, lack of understanding of unsustainable ways of living, and absence of effective disincentives in form of taxations or regulations. So essentially, sustainable consumption is consuming responsibly, consuming less, and consuming differently. So if these three factors are taken into account of what you consume it responsibly, consume less, and consume differently. Even in a place like Delhi, now during the summer, there is a shift towards the old earthen pot for drinking water. Now people have started buying those. They have a tap, so they find that water to be much more tasty, much more better, because there's a lot of discussion whether how good is cold water. So therefore, people are shifting to the earthen pot water. You get many in Delhi, that's very common. So the sustainable consumption mantra is the 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, rethink. I think if we can promote these 5 R's of refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rethink, lot of things can be pushed, especially if we go to the universities, colleges, and schools and promote this. Because today In Delhi, the children were involved in no crackers on Diwali, and it became a big success. The children, they were all roped in that you should not allow crackers to be burst, and it became a big success. So in Diwali, you don't have really crackers now, you have only lights. So these are some of the things where we have to have a broader strategy. Now, how can a consumer help? There are two main ways. One is reducing the waste. Even if you look at the waste management at the house level, so much of propaganda, so much of publicity is given that please maintain two bins. One, you put the one which are degradable, the other you put the other which like metal, glass. But somehow people, they spend thousands of rupees on other things, but they would not have two bins so that the waste can be segregated at an appropriate time, and it's already done. Refusing to use plastic straw, recycling plastic bottles, making informed choice purchases about what we are buying. If you can buy from sustainable and local sources, you can make a difference. This will also put pressure on business to adopt sustainable practices. So one has to believe in and practice more with less. Therefore, the current crisis is an opportunity for a systematic shift to a more sustainable economy that works for both people and the planet. Humans have unlimited needs, but the planet has limited capacity to satisfy them. Therefore, these limits must be reflected in our consumption and production patterns. Green consumerism at home is something good which all can practice. The higher efficiency now, BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, comes up with star rating, and so you have five-star products like washing machines, refrigerators, air conditioners. But people, they think that 3-star, 2-star is cheaper, so they buy it. But in the long run, they pay more because the higher the star, the more efficient it is. So it's something that people should also start thinking about. Then then the choice of solar, Justice has already talked about, of using the solar panels for house lighting. And believe me, in Allahabad, Prayagraj, where my house is, we have shifted to this. And earlier, our electricity bill would be around 13, 14,000. And believe me, it is hardly 7, 800 that comes now with the solar panel. Now, there's a misunderstanding that the energy that you generate from the solar panel, you are using it. It's not that. The energy that you generate goes to the grid, solar grid. So if you are able to generate 10 kV, it goes to the solar grid and it sums up. And suppose you are using 8, then you have already sold 2 extra. And therefore, at the end of month, your budget comes down. Your electricity bill drastically it comes down. So I think the government is giving subsidy. People should make use of the subsidy and enjoy the fruits of labor and see that the earth is much better in terms of even detergents that we use. Many are there now that non-toxic chemicals are there. Reduce the use of pesticides when you put in your plants, when your garden. People are now, a lot of manure with neem is coming that acts as a pesticide also. Reduce the use of other products, choose disposable articles. In the offices also, there are a lot of mechanisms now where the printers, photocopiers, computers, they all have come within an automatic shutdown system. When you are not using, they just shut down. Otherwise, normally what happens in the office, the moment you reach, you on the computer, you on all the printers, and then in the evening when you are going again, you switch off, and the whole day it's all being done. Similarly, the energy and lights, electric bulbs that we are using, we are now much more efficient. Reduce the use of paper. Now in Government of India is paperless office. And we have the e-office system now throughout government. And In IIP also we don't use. Now the green sheet doesn't move. There is no manual file that moves. Everything is electronically done, and we have now you save uh, tons of paper that would be bought, the money that was spent, and the system has become much more transparent, accountable, responsible, because people know where the file is moving. You can pull it, push it, whatever you want to do, and you can see what action has been taken. So look at the small changes that lifestyle changes we made during COVID. If you just recall, we were shopping less during COVID, much less than what we do, consuming less, eating healthy homemade food. Everybody had become a cook. And I think the whole family joined together in making some new dish. Nobody said, let's go out. Nobody said, let's buy from outside. Work from home is a normal, less pollution. The companies, big companies made money because they did not spend much on the travel and other things. Less visits to the doctors. How many of us visited doctor during those 2 years? Otherwise, normally the moment season changes, you rush to the doctor. But even without going to the doctor, we are all here. We are fine. So it's just the mindset that is there. Becoming more hygienic conscious. Everybody was washing their hands. Everybody was sanitizing their hands. Nobody was shaking hand. Everybody was doing namaste. I think we were also conscious about and reuse and recycle whatever was coming. We were reusing, spending quality time with family. So what has gone wrong that once COVID has gone, we are back to our old lifestyle, which is not sustainable lifestyle. So what we argue is that, yes, think of those 2 years. We did what we never thought we could do. And therefore, it's every individual's responsibility to ensure that, I say, let's go back home, make a list of products that we have not used for the last 6 months. You will find n number of products that you have not used. It is just, even a old chappal you don't want to throw. Arre, kabhi kaam aa jayega. It'll never. You just have a junk. That's all. You buy a new shoe, but you don't want to throw the old shoe. So many of this unsustainable lifestyle that we are doing, I think in the long run, if we do not change our habits, therefore this this year's World Consumer Rights Day theme is something that has to be pushed aggressively across the sections of society. So I again last quote Mahatma Gandhi's: "The future depends on us. What you do today." That is what it's all. It is, and unless we plan, unless we recognize, unless we realize that this planet Earth needs to be saved, the generations somebody left for us, we should also leave it for them. So thank you, sir. This is all I wanted to share with you, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra, sir. So, Professor Dr. Mishra, sir, has actually come out with the details of the today's theme and how that must be implemented, and what is the nexus or connection between the consumer rights, today's World Consumer Right Day. So what is the nexus between the sustainable lifestyles and the consumer rights as such? So, sir, we are indebted to you. We are thankful to you for your insight. Now, last but not the least, I'll just go through the presentation, I think, which I tried in a initial listing, so that regarding Lex Global Advocacy, I would like to just show this presentation. Yes. So I'm sure this is seen, and full screen is also seen. So Lex Global Advocacy is a legal platform with the motto of legal path to justice. And this is a pioneering legal platform founded by former presidents and members of Consumer Commissions of Maharashtra. Just to take a review of what this platform wants to do, It's a Mumbai-based legal platform, and the founders are, as already mentioned, distinguished ones and with a very clear mission. Now, mainly, legal path to justice means we who are now the former members and the presidents and the former district judges wish to guide and help the uh, society members, litigants, citizens to get their justice. So, accessibility is quite important, trying to break down the legal barriers. There must be principles of equity which we would like to while guiding them, and the basic is our expertise while we have achieved in while adjudicating and being the members and the presidents of the Consumer Commission. Now, the founding team is having judicial experience, mainly consumer law expertise, with some kind of a regional understanding that is basically focused to Maharashtra. This is what is the combination, that is the former district judges, ex-commission presidents, and former commission members who have come together. The associates, of course, young advocates who are quite interested and with enthusiasm wish to help these litigants. So that means advocate associates are the associates as such. There is a two-pronged approach. One is the professional support to the society members and the litigants, and secondly, it is a knowledge transfer, that is academics, which actually should be the or will be the more important part of this particular Lex Global Advocacy. So legal consultation, strategy development of any legal case, and the representation, as we already have seen that our young advocate associates would definitely help. Now, academically, practical skill development to young advocates and even the law students, on which we would like to focus and help the law colleges or law schools to bring skills to the law students. There will be mentorship programs, and the resources of knowledge resources would be definitely used as such. Now, mainly this is based in Mumbai. At Pune, Aurangabad, and Nagpur, there will be the sub offices, and our plan is to reach every district where the consultants will be the uh, former members and presidents of the consumer commission, and associates will be the young advocates. So this is what there will be a coordination between the two. So this kind of a unique value proposition would definitely be helpful to the society as such. So this will be an effort by all of us who have the experience and the knowledge, which would be utilized to help the society. So plans will be the expanding not only in the state of Maharashtra, but also the similar kind of models will be developed uh, everywhere where willing partners wish to join this particular Lex Global Advocacy. So we're looking for the uh, legal professionals and the law students and the individuals and basically our own colleagues to contribute this professional effort as such. Now, as I have already discussed about that each district we would like to have the team. So with this, let me stop this presentation. Uh, I think this was the main theme which we wanted to show to all the participants who are here right now. So with this, we come to the end of this particular webinar. This not only the esteemed guests who have guided the audience also belong to the esteemed personalities in the audience, and as I see that even the state commission members are there, present state commission members are there, principals of law colleges are there, the Grahak Panchayat, there is NGO representatives are there, then former members and the presidents all are here in this particular August gathering. So if Shirasav sir is there, Shirasav sir, are you there? I think he's not seen, possibly. Okay, so uh, our esteemed member of State Consumer Commission, who was in charge president of the State Consumer Commission, Honorable Mr. Dilip Shirasa. So he is with us. He was supposed to pay vote of thanks. So his this job now I'm concluding. I am thankful to all esteemed speakers, specifically the chief guest, Justice A.P. Bhangale sir, for sparing time and contributing his own thoughts to this particular in this platform. I'm thankful to the former president of the State Consumer Commission, Justice U.V. Bakre sir, for sparing time and joining us. Obviously, Mr. Dhananjay, who was the honorable member of Goa State Consumer Commission. Thankful to you, sir, for giving your insights. And finally, we were really honored, Professor Dr. Suresh Mishra, sir, that in spite of your busy schedule today, you made it and you have guided this esteemed team as such. So I'm thankful to you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
for being with us. So with this, I think let us come to an end of this particular webinar. And now it is the time for actual action. And I'm sure the members of this particular forum, this particular legal platform, will now definitely be working to help the society in attaining the justice by legal path. So let me thank all of you and stop here. I'm now going to stop the recording, as well as if at all any kind of informal discussion is to be done, that can be definitely done.
Thank you, Dr. Saib. We are grateful to you for hosting this webinar.
Yes.